One character in Superman can be the answer to Kevin Feige's desire to see one Superman villain in James Gunn's DCU. Welcome to Stats In. If you're just joining us, please subscribe and don't forget to turn on notifications bell for more video. Leading up to the movie, one of the biggest mysteries was the real identity of Ultraman, and as it turns out, it was David Corenswet's more powerful yet less intelligent clone, who supposedly remains trapped in the black hole. While Ultraman and Bizarro are inherently different characters in the comics, as the former is more of an evil Superman, while the latter is a flawed clone, the Ultraman in Superman seems more akin to Bizarro from the comics. James Gunn, during an interview with Entertainment Weekly, recounted being asked about Bizarro's future by none other than Kevin Feige. Although Superman did incorporate an evil Superman clone, created by Lex Luthor to rival David Corenswet's Man of Steel, despite the parallels between Ultraman and Bizarro, it appears Ultraman didn't scratch the itch for Feige. Yeah, for sure. It's funny, Marvel Studios president Kevin Feige wrote me yesterday. He says he hopes his old pal Bizarro laughs. He wants to see Bizarro. But considering that Ultraman's fate was left open-ended in the movie after he gets punched into a black hole, it won't be a stretch to say we already might have had DCU's Bizarro, who could unleash in the future sequels. I don't know if you noticed, David's got prosthetics on as Ultraman. He's got a chin that's jutting out, his ears poke out, he's got one eye kind of going in a little direction. Luthor took him out of the oven a little too quickly or something. Given the movie never addresses his fate, it will be more effective to merge Ultraman and Bizarro instead of introducing yet another Superman clone, which would mean Corenswet will also be headlining Bizarro. While acknowledging these parallels, Gunn clarified that there were originally plans for more sadder groundwork for the character, as apparent from Corenswet's prosthetics as Ultraman, which were eventually cut. Although things mostly remain under wraps, the director suggested it won't be a traditional sequel to Superman, but a potential team-up, and as for what the project is, even Corenswet remains unaware. As for what's next for David Corenswet's original Superman, who is undoubtedly here for the long haul, according to James Gunn's interview with Amelie, he'll be appearing in the Guardians director's next movie, said. He, Corenswet, was asking me what I was working on. He knows that I'm working on something. He knows he's a part of it. He doesn't know what it is. Literally nothing. Even though it's hard to predict anything for certain, my bet remains on a Superman/Supergirl team-up. But then again, it's Gunn we're talking about, and given his knack for realizing the more obscure comic book characters, one should always be open to surprises. What are your expectations from Superman's next adventure? Comment below. I don't know if you noticed, David's got prosthetics on as Ultraman. He's got a chin that's jutting out, his ears poke out, he's got one eye kind of going in a little direction. Luthor took him out of the oven a little too quickly or something. Given the movie never addresses his fate, it will be more effective to merge Ultraman and Bizarro instead of introducing yet another Superman clone, which would mean Corenswet will also be headlining Bizarro. James Gunn has been on a roll after the release of Superman, and here's every major reveal by Gunn about Superman and his future projects. Welcome to Stats In. If you're just joining us, please subscribe and don't forget to turn on notifications bell for more video. Being a lighter and colorful take on the character of Superman, monologues and dialogue-heavy scenes weren't really James Gunn's style. Even if he did, it would probably be for comedic effect. Surprisingly enough, the DCU flick does feature a 12-minute dialogue scene between Lois Lane, played by Rachel Brosnahan, and Clark Kent, played by David Corenswet. Being weary of a world that had turned against the very superhero they prayed for, Superman flies through the open balcony of Lois Lane's apartment, where the two sit down to have a heart-to-heart talk about who Superman really is, while Lois Lane contemplates breaking up with him. James Gunn has been hammering and toiling away to create a cinematic universe that these DC characters can call their home. With the release of Superman, and the film getting rave reviews, including one from me, there has been a ton of chatter and revelations by director James Gunn about Superman and the DCU. From the potential return of Henry Cavill to James Gunn's DCU to Bradley Cooper almost starring as Lex Luthor instead of Nicholas Hoult, James Gunn's Superman is filled with riddles and secrets that Gunn recently revealed in the Happy Sad Confused podcast. Well, here's every major Superman reveal by James Gunn and what it means for the DCU. Throughout his extensive Hollywood career, James Gunn has always relied on songs from the 70s and the 80s to put the audience in a groove. Compared to his other superhero movies, Superman has a lack of songs and rather relies on the music score composed by John Murphy and David Fleming to set the tone of the movie. Although there are songs in the movie, they are used sparingly throughout the entire 129-minute runtime. Remember, punk rocker in the closing credits. During his talks with the Happy Sad Confused podcast, the director reveals that the 12-minute talking scene was the biggest creative risk that he took in a superhero movie, but it paid off well. Before he was cast in the role of Jor-El alongside Angela Sarafian as Lara Lorvan, Bradley Cooper was initially considered by James Gunn to portray the role of Lex Luthor. However, the actor revealed in the podcast that he wanted Lex Luthor to be contemporary of Superman's age. And since Bradley Cooper was a little bit older, he wouldn't fit in the age range of David Corenswet's Superman. Gunn admitted that Cooper would have been a great Lex. With that age factor in mind, Gunn decided to take Nicholas Hoult as Lex Luthor. Gunn revealed in the Happy Sad Confused podcast that this decision was scary, since he hadn't done it before. Several of the original scores had to be toned down and made lighter to fit the theme of the movie, and the movie, Jor-El's remaining half of a message is decoded by Lex Luthor. The latter half of the message instructs Superman to conquer Earth and make it a second Krypton. Throughout the movie, audiences are kept in the dark about whether that message was fabricated by Lex Luthor or was it real. However, in the podcast, James Gunn revealed that Jor-El and Lara's message is real and not at all doctored. The reason for this controversial choice was that Gunn wanted the audience to realize that Superman was his own person with his beliefs and moral codes, despite being directly ordered by his biological parents to conquer the home where he was raised. However, James Gunn did give Bradley Cooper his due screen time when he cast Cooper in the role of Jor-El, who appears in a hologram message in Superman. However, as the trailer dropped and hype started, people started accepting David Corenswet as the new Man of Steel and eventually fell in love with his portrayal, again, me being one of them. When David Corenswet was initially cast as Superman, there was an intense backlash because of Henry Cavill's controversial exit and his millions of fans, me being one of them. In the movie, we are introduced to some new and old characters from James Gunn's DCU, namely, Guy Gardner/Green Lantern, Nathan Fillion, Hawkgirl, Isabella Merced, and Mr. Terrific, Eddie Gathegi. The three heroes call themselves the Justice Gang and are financed by Maxwell Lord, who was played by Pedro Pascal in Wonder Woman 1984, and the film depicts an unfinished Hall of Justice building. The murals depict several heroes like Jay Garrick, Flash, Alan Scott, Green Lantern, and Dr. Fate, which suggests a history of the Justice Society of America. During his talks with IMDb, James Gunn revealed that he was watching the 2022 horror film Pearl. Corenswet had portrayed the role of the projectionist, and Gunn thought, that guy looks like he could possibly be Superman. A quick search on IMDb brought the actor's name, and the rest, as we know, is history. However, Cavill soon announced his departure from the newly formed DCU, which made James Gunn has no intention of letting his heroes grow up in a grim dark world, as his comments about the next Superman story proves DC is in safe hands. Welcome to Stats In. If you're just joining us, please subscribe.